Hello everyone, my name is Charles Grant and I am a teaching artist with Kaiser Permanente in collaboration with Oregon Children's Theater. And today we are going to be reading a book that has become very special to me called Dad, Who Will I Be? Written by G.Todd Taylor and illustrated by Delana Robbins. This book is very special to me because it speaks so much about dreaming and finding things and people that inspire us to help keep us motivated and looking towards our futures. And so I'm very excited to get into this book specifically because it does follow the relationship between a father and a son, specifically a Black father and a son. And to me, representation is so powerful. So representation is just the idea that seeing people who look like you, whether it be in the media or in books or just in life, shows you that you also have a place in this world and that you are not alone. And I love that. It is such a simple but powerful reminder. And so, Dad, Who Will I Be? I think is a great choice for today and for all of us, regardless of who we are, what our backgrounds are, to remind us that our dreams and our lives matter. And we can be anything and anybody we want to be. So reading to me is so special. I mean, I remember when I was in elementary school, reading and going to the library and going to the scholastic book fairs and just being so excited about what book can I read? What story can I read? What world am I going to be transported to today? And so when I read, it feels like such a special occasion and a special event, so I like to make it nice and fun. So I've chosen this space in my house, which I like to call the Book Nook, which is just this corner in my kitchen with lots of natural light due to the windows and lots of plants. And it just makes me feel cozy and sets a great environment to get the reading fun started. I also like to usually have a cup of tea, so I'll have that here today as well. And now we're really ready to rock and roll. Let's go. Dad, who will I be? Dad, when I grow up, what will I be? Will I be as big as a mountain or as tall as a tree? Will I be as smart as Garrett Morgan or W.E.B? Son, you are amazing and you can be whatever you want to be. I love how just hopeful and affirming the dad is to his son, saying you can be whatever you want to be. So are there people in your life who affirm you or who inspire you and push you towards your goals? For me, that person would be James Baldwin, who is a poet, a playwright, an author, a civil rights activist. And both in his art and in his life, he is always speaking out against injustice, against things that aren't right, and fighting for us all to have an equal place at the table. And so for me, seeing that as an artist myself, it's a reminder that everything I say and that I do can be aligned with making sure that everyone has an equal place in this world. So who are some people like that for you? Let's keep going and see. Maybe you'll be inspired by some other people in this book. Can I jump like Michael Jordan or be as fast as Muhammed Ali? Or maybe play golf like Tiger Woods as I hit the ball off the tee? Yes, my son. You can be whatever you want to be. Can I be as powerful as Dr. King and help the world to see that no man should rest until all the world is free? Let's take another moment and stop here because there's a lot of really powerful image on these pages. So we've got some signs from protesters saying things like, I can't breathe, I am a man, no justice, no peace, Black Lives Matter, we shall overcome. Now, Martin Luther King was a civil rights activist in the 1960s and even really beyond that. But do any of these signs sound familiar to you? Have you heard any of these phrases recently? Most particularly, I would love to point out Black Lives Matter. During this pandemic of coronavirus, we've also been in a racial and social pandemic, continuing just to fight for Black lives and all marginalized groups to make sure that, again, we all have an equal place in this world and that we're all treated fairly and equitably. So this page also says, fight racism, poverty, and war. So these are all things that divide us. Racism, when we are discriminating against someone based on their racial, ethnic background. Poverty, another word to say, lacking resources or lacking money, just the basic needs. And war, of course, is when two or more parties are just fighting each other. Sometimes that's literally, sometimes it's more figuratively with words, but these are all things that are currently dividing us. So it's just some things to think about. You know, what sort of things do we want to be? What sort of messages do we want to put out into the world? And what do we want to leave behind for all the generations who come after us? Can I be like Mansa Abu Bakr, who sailed 2,000 ships across the sea? Can I be like Mansa Musa, who was the richest man in all of history? Son, these are all amazing people, but you can be whoever you want to be. Maybe I'll be a superhero fighting crime wherever I see. Or a hero like Marcus Garvey, who worked to liberate you and me. Maybe I can be an astronaut like Ronald McNair or Guion Bluford and fly in the sky farther than the eye can see. Dad, maybe I can be the US Secretary of State like Colin Powell and serve my country faithfully. I can even be president like Barack Obama and change the course of history. Son, you can be anything you want to be, but today, I just want you to be the best you that you can be. The end. Love this book so much. I find it so inspiring, and I hope that you did too. It makes me think so much, again, about what energy and what positivity do I want to put out into the world. And so, leading me to our next activity, which is to make a list of some things that you want to be. And then from that list, let's just choose one. Because again, as is pointed out in this book, the things that you can be are unlimited. You may have one idea about it today, and you may have a completely different idea about who you want to be tomorrow. Know that that can always change. So go ahead and start with just making a list of some things that you want to be. Maybe something that inspired you from this book, or maybe something completely different. And then pick one of those things, and with a family member, look around your house for one or two items to then dress up like that person. And then after that, take a picture of yourself, and that way you'll always have it as a reminder of the person that you want to be and what you want to do in this world with your future. So I'm gonna go change into that, and then you go ahead and change into that, and then we'll meet back. So I am back, and I have dressed up as the thing that I want to be. So when I was a kid, I remember the first thing that I wanted to be was a teacher. Now, I consider myself a teaching artist today, but there are still so many educators and people that inspire me and that I look up to that make me want to just keep obtaining all the knowledge so that I can keep learning, so that in turn, I can keep sharing. So, I've dressed up in my fancy sweater and shirt, and I've got my planner, which also doubles as a journal. It keeps me organized and focused, and there's space to draw and write and dream and plan and stay inspired so that I can always remember who I am, who I was, and where I want to go and who I want to be. So I hope that you had a good time dressing up as what you want to be. Take a picture of yourself. I'm gonna do that as well. And then we'll always have these photos to look at and remember that we can be whoever we want to be. So thank you again for reading this book with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and I hope that it inspired you to go after your dreams. Thank you again. My name is Charles, and I'll see you next time. Bye.